Hey, what's up, and welcome again to Zone 32 with me, Afiq Jauhari. First up, thanks to JC Studio for the location of this program. Now, in today's pilot episode, we're going to be talking about the development of NC basketball. And with me, on my left, we have Andri Reza, GM of KL Dragons. How are you, Andri?
Not too bad, thanks for having me.
That's good. And over to his left, we have Bro Mizan. How are you, bro?
Well, thanks.
Waalaikumsalam. And of course, on the far left, we have Abang Syed. How are you, Abang Syed?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, as always. Okay, so for today's pilot episode, we're going to be talking about the development of NC basketball, but mainly on the MABA Cup. Now, currently it's called the MABA Cup after 25 years of existence, but initially it was called the Sedap Cup. Am I correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and then it progressed into the Petronas Cup based on the sponsors at that time.
Correct.
Right.
And now, after 25 years, maybe I think it was in the early 2000s, it was changed to Petronas Cup.
Sedap Cup was for 3 years, and then 98 it became
Petronas
Cup.
Okay, and then when did the change become? When did it become MABA Cup? Then was it in the 2000s?
I think about 5-7 years ago, after Petronas ended their sponsorship.
Exactly.
Okay.
When Petronas ended their sponsorship.
Yeah, 5 years ago,
So
I think.
early 2010s, roughly there.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't playing by then, so I wasn't.
Okay, cool.
It was after 2010.
All right. So in terms of MABA Cup, it's basically the collection of the best NC talent available in the whole country, right?
I think that's the idea behind it.
Yes.
So every state, initially it was just states, no clubs were allowed.
Right.
So every state would send their best 15 players, and including all the imports and things like that. So I bet that with the collection of players, the big talent pool, obviously there's going to be a lot of interesting experiences throughout the years. So if I can, I want to ask each and every one of you, like, who are the best players that you've played against throughout your experience in the MABA Cup? So Andri, how about you?
You might want to start with the elder gentleman first. They've got some much better stories.
They're not here today, so we'll start with you.
Oh, young guns here.
Oh, the best player I played against. I played my first year back from in '98. I played against a very young Sealan. I remember, and this is before he became RoboCop. Actually, this was very, very young. He was skinny. He wasn't buff. He was doing windmill dunks in game against the really, really weak teams. I was quite impressed. I did not play. I think we were in a different group, but I think we might have played one game against them. He was probably the best at the time that I had. Of course, there's so many other names that I will admit I do not remember. If I see the faces, I'll remember them, but I would not remember their names. But Sealan would probably be the top because he was one of the most athletic guys that I saw at the time. I did play with a very young Abi. What's his real name? Guga. Yes. First year he joined MABA Cup, Petronas Cup. We went down to Rawang, I want to say he's from. Yes, it was. I mean, again, this is the first time I was back from Australia, so we went to some really out of the way place to pick this kid up. It's literally, for me, it was. I mean, I'm right now I'm used to it, but I mean, of course I've been here for so long. But back then I was just a kid. I was like 17, back from Australia. I was like, okay, yeah, Rawang. Okay, I didn't even know what Rawang was until then. So we picked him up. This is young kid. I think he was 16. Yeah. He could change directions, but I mean, I don't know where he learned to play like that in Rawang, but he picked it up and he was really good. So another guy that I played with but I didn't play against was Guga, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. For me, it'd be Herbert Lagada. I think, apart from his skills, I think his basketball IQ was very high, and I think he was also very effective on the offensive side, but I think there was a defensive side to him as well. Those days, Sabah would push and play man. So their man defense was actually very strong, and Herbert was a key player in that man defense.
Okay, and what position does Herbert play?
I think it was
point
shooting guard.
Shooting guard.
Yeah, shooting guard.
Definitely shooting guard. Definitely shooting guard.
Okay.
Shoot first, second, and third.
Oh, the toughest players I've played against was Herbert Legada back in '95.
The legend.
The legend, yeah. Herbert, Fadli Sham was there, a very young Fadli Sham. I remembered Idris.
Idris.
Yeah, remember Idris? The Sabah team was a surprise to us. We thought we were going to champ the first Sedap Cup, man. We thought we were the best, you know, until the Sabahans came, you know. So when we saw the Sabahan, they were speaking Tagalog and stuff like that, you know. They had some Filipino blood in them. So basketball was actually like their national game, you know. So we were shocked. And it was pretty sad losing to Sabah in the finals. So it was Herbert, it was Fadli Sham, Idris, and the gang, right? Datu and all of them could play. All of them could play. And then we're just talking about '95, or we're going on?
Yeah, we're definitely
Please.
going on.
Oh, we're going on.
Throughout the years.
Please. We'd be here all day.
Satya Silan was tough.
Robocop.
Satya Silan was tough. Guga. Abi, right? So Abi, not everybody knows him as Abi. We called him Abi back then, that was his nickname. Now everybody knows him as Guga since he played professional for the Dragons.
Yeah.
Guga, so...
He was a big name in Beijing, if I'm not mistaken, as well. He was. I mean, I still run into people who would actually want to take photos with him from mainland China, and they'd say, like, and these guys like would not be old enough to have played with him or anything like that, but they still want to take photos with the guy.
This is from his university days.
Yeah, that's right.
No, he wasn't in Beijing, he was in Xiamen.
Xiamen, was it?
Yes, he was in Xiamen.
Right. Okay. Now, apart from the best players that you've played against, other than that, the MABA Cup, Petronas Cup, Sedap Cup, we know that it's usually like a week long, or at least goes over like 7 to 10 days. So you guys have to lodge together, accommodations together. Obviously, you'll
Sure.
have some pillow talk moments or bedroom stories that you like to share.
No,
so
really?
come on.
I have no idea what
Come
we're
on,
talking
guys.
about here.
This is no holds
No
barred
idea what
here.
we're talking about.
No holds barred. So, try to share with me the weirdest stories that you've like maybe heard or even encountered yourself during your experience.
Okay.
He'll probably be the right guy.
No.
I was old then, so everybody was like respectful of me. I would do everything behind my back, you know. So the only thing I remember is that I'll be up the earliest.
Yeah.
Everybody was still asleep.
He doesn't remember, he talks in his sleep.
Okay.
Of course, I won't remember that. But okay.
We had some fun times, you know. Every year I look forward to playing in this tournament, Sedap Cup, Petronas Cup, because to me it was a holiday. It was getting away from your everyday routine. So getting together with our best friends. And I have lots of friends, you know, biker friends, school friends.
Girlfriend.
Yeah, girlfriends. Okay. Those days, you know. Okay. But the best friends for me are my basketball friends. My basketball friends, they are the best. Until today, I share my secrets with Agong Mizan. He's my bro. He taught me how to play the game. My favorite coach was Mr. Su. Mr. Su Tekwa.
Okay.
Agong Mizan, he got bought by Johor, you know, after 3 years with Selangor. So I kind of got offended with that. He left me and he went to play for Johor.
There's some bitterness here.
Yeah, there's some bitterness there, you know, because he wanted to go and play with Herbert.
No. Herbert came later.
Oh, Herbert came later, okay.
The Johor pitch was simple, because basically they felt that we were unappreciated in Selangor. So they said there's no point of having good seeds if the soil is not fertile. So they say come over to Johor.
Bro Mizan, when you say underappreciated, was it a matter of like playing time or just playing style?
No. I think that it was more the view of the association for us. It was a novelty. They didn't really look at it seriously at that point in time. I don't feel that they were really. It was a novelty for them. It was to a certain extent an extension of things that they wanted to do. But I don't feel personally, this is a personal view, I don't think they were really going all out to develop NC ball.
We've been talking about Petronas Cup and NC basketball development as a whole, but now we're going to go a little bit in depth about the progression of the league. Now, in terms of where you guys saw Petronas Cup, MABA Cup, Sedap Cup in the 90s and where it is right now, what do you think are like the major significant changes that is really noticeable in your guys' eyes?
Well, if I don't mind if I go first, from my experience, I think it's the level of participation. So there's more people playing basketball now. In the 90s, it was very difficult, as Syed said, to find a basketball court to really participate in the game. Now, in Subang Jaya alone, I think there are like, what, 8 or something like that. Kind of feels like that to me. And it's like, so back then, you'd have to travel. So definitely participation. And as much as I did not like the movement, I think it was like during those &1 days when everyone was doing those street ball things and dancing in place with the basketball, right? Yeah. And that's when it really started to explode, because it became popular, it became relatable, and now it moved past the dancing in place, but it's still that kind of participation level is great. So you see that cross board, not just in the MABA Cup, but in the NCBL or any other leagues in general. Okay,
like dancing, it involves a lot of skills, and I think we've discussed this before, Bro Mizan. In terms of skills, what do you see like the significant changes?
I think it's skill-wise, definitely everything has come up a notch. There are more players who are highly skilled, but I think in terms of tournaments, there's not a major change. But what has happened is that NC teams are willing to participate in open tournaments. Yeah. Those days, they would wait only if they felt safe.
Exactly.
Playing in an NC tournament, but now the stronger NC teams are playing in open tournaments. So I think that's the biggest change. So you have a lot of, so the mindset has changed. More teams are participating, more players are there, the pool of players. And there are a lot of teams that are NC teams that are playing outside tournaments. And there are a lot of NC players who are joining other teams playing in outside tournaments. And I think that's the biggest change.
Yes, touching on that, I think, Abang Syed, you've been bringing your own basketball club, Swoosh Basketball Club, into open tournaments. You've been doing it since the early 2000s up until now. Can you share some of your experiences regarding the team, like bringing it to other tournaments?
Yeah, we actually wanted to gain more experience. If you want to be the best, you've got to play with the best. So we were playing in non-Chinese tournaments. I don't mean to brag, you know, but it was too easy. It was too easy. So we went for the open tournaments. Okay. Now we went for the open tournaments. It was tougher. It was more fun. When it's tougher, it's more enjoyable because it's a challenge. So we went to play in Kampong Cina Ampang. We went to play in Wawasan in Puchong.
Taman Wawasan.
We went to play in Sungai Pelek in Sepang there. Okay? We went to play in Kuala Selangor, Sasaran. We traveled all over the place to play, you know what I'm saying. You know, we went, you know, to play in open tournaments, to play with our Chinese brothers, you know. Like I said, the NC tournaments was too easy. I mean, we champ every year, man. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't mean to brag, but he was the toughest competition. The first time we went to the finals in a swoosh jersey was in 1999 against Storm.
Okay.
You know.
So it was against Bro Mizan.
It was against Bro Mizan. He had a 6'8" guy from the US. You know what I'm saying? I have a picture of that. What was his name? You know, he had a 6'8" guy from the US Embassy. The guy was working for the US Embassy or something. He was like a US Marine guy. They took him to play. We didn't have in the league that says no foreigners allowed. So he had an American dude who's 6'8", you know. So we lost.
So Bro Mizan really knew how to find.
He knew.
Loophole.
Right. Right. No, back. Let's. You were telling me we played in open tournaments. We enjoyed ourselves. We went to the finals. We beat Puchong BA.
Okay.
We beat Puchong BA, was the favorite team to go to the final. They were the defending champions. We beat Puchong BA. We beat teams from Rawang. We surprised everyone. And then we went to the finals against a team called Super Sports. Super Sports back then. They were still new back then. And we lost by 1 point in the finals. We lost by 1. But it was a good achievement because we went to the finals against good teams, Against good, we're not talking about second-class team, third-class team. We're talking about teams like Super Sport. We're talking about Puchong BA. At that time, Kemuning and stuff? Or Kemuning didn't exist back then. No, State Pet already dissolved.
So if we're talking about club basketballs, participation in other tournaments was definitely a key in their development. We're going to talk about NC basketball again, but in terms of MABA Cup contributions and overall significance towards NC basketball as well as Malaysian basketball in general. So moving forward, what do you guys think is its value, like the current and future value of MABA Cup towards basketball development in Malaysia?
Can I start?
Please.
I think it's an existing platform. It has already attracted a lot of interest, a lot of participation. So it's an opportunity. It depends what you want to do with it. If nothing changes, then I apologize, but it's like walking through the same doors, you're going to end up in the same place. You can't expect to end up something different. If you make the right changes, the right decisions, then it's a fantastic platform to leapfrog, to leverage off, and to achieve the results that you want to get. But it has, like I said, it has to be with intent, it has to be with commitment, it has to be with planning, and I think the most important thing that you raise, it has to be done in collaboration. It shouldn't be done, like a lot of things now, even in the new Malaysia now, it's about working together. It's not about just a top-down and I say you do. It's about having this collaborative effort to achieve the results. Then everybody has that vision, everybody understands, and then we can all go towards it. So I think it's a good thing, it's an opportunity, but it has to be done right.
Yeah, and to echo what Mizan has said, it really is, what MABA Cup has is, it has heritage.
Yes.
It has
History.
It has something that people in the community look up to, for good or for bad,
Yep.
whatever it really is, right? They look up to it, right? It's a target for people who, at least it was during my time. I'm not sure right now because I don't know any young people, but it's a target for them to get to, right? And the problem with that right now, obviously, is that it doesn't exist as the pinnacle of basketball quality. So it doesn't have to be necessarily if there's another role behind it.
Yes.
But then there still needs to be a discussion on what that role is. It can't just be random change. Remember that one year when they introduced those different composite balls in the NBA and all the players started rioting?
Yes.
Like Steve Nash was complaining about his fingers being cut on a basketball and stuff like that. And it's like that you don't make these decisions without consulting with the people who actually participate in the game.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. So these kind of things generally, to put it mildly, just come from 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 people making a decision and just it rolls out. And I think there needs to be a better discussion on realistically what are we trying to achieve. And if it just is participation, that's fine. But then you need to have another pinnacle tournament. And to me, honestly, it does kind of waste the heritage of the MABA Cup if it's not a pinnacle tournament. But again, there's other reasons behind it, and I'm okay with that.
Yes.
There's both ways of doing it, but it can't be some half-baked approach where you have 2 or 3 teams with a bunch of money behind them and a whole bunch of guys who are just playing for the fun of it. Weekend Warriors,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Which is great. It's great to have Weekend Warriors against Joint Stat Sports League for that, but MABA Cup should be
Yes.
that pinnacle tournament, I think.
So I think the acid test or litmus test would be if you ask people what's the identity of MABA Cup, and if you get too many different answers, then you know that it's not focused, and you know that people don't understand it. And as you say, people will be doing it for different reasons, and for good or for bad, they should be very clear about the purpose of MABA Cup.
Yeah. What's the purpose of
So if it's developmental, then all right, that's fine. If it's high-end competitive ball, then again, it's all right. But that needs to be clear. Then, as you say, your son has something to aspire to. I go to a lesser tournament first. Then I aspire to be one day to be in this tournament, and then eventually into the Dragons. So so I see that roadmap. I see a basketball career path, if I can say. Then it's very clear. If not, if they try and play it and keep too many people happy, doesn't have identity, it will lose its impact.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when I was starting playing, it used to be like a great goal, okay, like to compete with the guys from Sabah, because you always hear, oh, okay, Sabah players are like extremely good.
Exactly.
And even I remember like the late 2000s, every state would import players from Sabah to enforce their lineup.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was saying just a little bit more. Since you have a 14-year-old son right now, can you roughly tell me what is his perception towards Petronas? I mean, towards MABA Cup right now?
You want an honest opinion, or you want me to be nice about it?
Okay. Honestly nice.
Okay. Honestly nice. All right.
Honestly nice.
When MABA Cup used to be only state teams, he wanted to, look forward to play for state. After playing MABA Cup, maybe from there you can move up to Agong Cup, and then from Agong Cup you can move on to what? ABL, Oh no, sorry, national first.
NBL first.
NBL or national team, and then you get selected to play for the ASEAN Basketball League, or you never know. The sky is the limit. You can go play in a PBA in the Philippines.
What do you think are like the challenges of Petronas Cup? I mean, of MABA Cup really expanding and having a proper structure?
I think it really comes down to just getting the stakeholders on the same page. What it really is that a lot of times, even in this development process, everyone wants to control their own little island. They're my players, not your players, not our players. It's my players. So you can't have them, or and I run into that same problem right now, even for the Dragons, believe it or not, where people are telling me, sorry, my boss said I can't play for you. And I'm only interested in getting the best guys out there so they become better basketball players. But I'm getting people telling that to me. So I can only imagine at a further grassroots level where you've got this young coach who's got a team and he has this one kid who plays for someone else who really wants to play with these guys because they're his friends. But the guy says, no, it's my guy. Sorry. So those kind of things, even at that level, if everyone wants to be the little emperors of their own domain, it's not going to work. Everyone's got to leave it behind and say, if this is going to be the new Malaysia, right? This is going to be the new basketball, then we've got to come up with a tagline. I got to think of a tagline. But the new basketball where we're all
Jangan lari. Jangan lari. Hashtag jangan lari. Hashtag jangan lari. The new tagline for tonight. Hashtag jangan lari.
Yeah, but if they all just come together and really be honest about it. Like say, I get it. There's financial implications. People want to get the best players because they get money and whatnot. But there's got to be an evening out of that structure somehow.
And I think if we do it collaboratively, I think that's when we can put all the issues on the table and we can find a balance. Yeah. It's a win-win. You get some of the things that you need to maintain. You need to get, some players coming in. And so, but most importantly is that the sport gets better. Yep. Everybody moves up the value chain.
That should be the ultimate goal. Because if you really look at it, why do sponsors not want to put money into it?
Yes, exactly.
Because the product's not good enough.
Yeah. Correct.
If the product's not good, if the product was the NBA, they'd be putting money into it.
Exactly.
Right? Sense. So if the product's not, so if we really want to talk about, hey, I want to make money from the sport, then let's all work together to get the product better so that we're all making money. Yes. If we're talking about those feeder tournaments or these larger tournaments, if we could say there was games all year round, all over the country, all under one unified platform, the sponsors are going to want to put money because there's eyeballs on this. Right. But everyone wants, again, to be emperors of the little domain when they don't want to share and they don't want to talk and they don't want to work together, then that's difficult. And it's getting better. Yeah. I have to be honest, it is getting better. But we are way behind right now. I mean, Thailand is kicking our butts.
We don't have to invent everything or reinvent everything. A lot of things are ready just to be adopted. things and mechanisms that are already
Sure.
practiced by other countries, other markets. It can be done, but it needs to be done together. I mean, in EPL, Malaysian companies are sponsoring EPL teams.
Yep.
So why is it that because there's a brand, because there's a value created, and what we are talking about here is all about, at the end of the day, how we can create value. Not for you, not for me, but bringing everybody up. Then everybody enjoys. And that makes a lot of sense as well.
I want to ask you guys again, what's your best personal experience towards your decades of experience, decades of exposure towards Petronas, towards MABA Cup?
Emphasis on decades, guys.
I know.
He mentioned it many times. He mentioned decades at least three times.
So that's 30 already,
That only applies to you.
And more.
That applies mostly to you. I've got only 20.
What do you think?
We respect the elders.
Please. I think the best experience I feel is me being a senior player. I think is the community. I think the building of the community. Generally, you do get known within the community, and there is that camaraderie, there's that brothership, and that over any personal success or or team success or anything like that. And like Syed says, it's a good bunch of people. It's a good bunch of friends, and are held together by a passion for a sport. And I think to me, that's the greater achievement, having that brotherhood. Being able to walk onto different courts and people say, "Hey, hang on, I know you," or
sure.
And
Sure.
that's a great thing.
Yeah, I think that applies to all three of you. Anyone would know if you guys step onto any court.
Probably me, not me, not me.
necessarily.
People would know his voice. When
Yeah,
he
people would
says
know
it,
his voice,
People would know his voice.
And his head.
And Bro Mizan, people would know, oh, okay, this is the passer extraordinaire. Or even Abang say, oh, the 3-point bomber. Anybody in the NC basketball scene, usually they would know. So, yeah, I agree. You guys would have created that camaraderie and also that sort of reputation amongst the community.
I think it's not so much about reputation. I think the fact that people do come up to you and it's not for, like I say, personal gain or like that, but it's talk about ball. How can I do things better?
Sure.
What can you tell me
exactly
about, how I can this or for me a lot of it is how do I pass in a certain way, or how do I expand my vision? So I think that's the thing that is great for me personally.
And to echo that, and also to echo what Syed said earlier, basketball has always been my source of like the best friends, because you bleed together. You're out there. It's testing character in a non-critical situation. It feels very important at that time. Like we gotta win, but it's not life-threatening. It's not like it's my livelihood depends on it. But at that moment, it creates that bond, and you get to see the kind of character a person has when he's standing with you, or when he's playing basketball, when he's willing to give up himself, whatever that part of himself for the team at that time. You get your best friends from that. So all my best friends are from basketball. My business partners are from basketball. My mentors are from basketball. It really is that community that, although again I may not be as well known as these two gentlemen, it's definitely something that I appreciate. Knowing the people. I'm terrible with names, and that's my fault, not anyone else's. But I like the fact that I can talk to these guys and they'll talk about basketball. I might not know you personally.
Yep.
Right? But we can talk about, Agong Mizan, what was it like playing with this guy? Or I can joke with him and I say that he's the oldest guy in the stadium, which was true. Which is true.
Yeah, there's always a grain of truth in everything.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Can I share my best experience?
Mm-hmm.
My best experience, which I treasure the most until today, being a part of Sedap Cup, Petronas Cup, and MABA Cup, was the professional coaches which they provided. The state teams, like I mentioned earlier, Mr. Su, before I joined Sedap Cup or Petronas Cup, we were playing what? How were we coaching? You know, Abang Mizan was the coach, right? And we had Raja and all that. Okay, but when we joined a state team, they provided us with Mr. Su Tek Hua. You know, who is Su Tek Hua? And then he taught us basic. Not everybody liked him because he teaches school basketball, but I enjoyed it because he taught me back from basic how to play the game in an organized manner. It's not playground, it's not N1 stuff, it's not, you know.
There's no dancing around.
No dancing around, no, you play proper basketball, the screen, how you stand on defense, you know, how, you know, stop and shoot, how do you release the ball. He taught us how to play the game properly, you know. This was the thing which I treasured. I still have it here, and I'm using what Mr. Su taught me to teach my the kids at school, you know. That is something besides friendship. Of course, the best part is about making new friends when you join this. You make basketball friends from Sabah, from Sarawak, from all other states. You know, you get to meet people. I mean, you go up. I wear my jersey, it has Aljunid there. Believe it or not, I went to Putrajaya Alamanda, right? And this big dude, I don't know who he is. He just, Abang Syed, Aljunid. He says, downtown. He says,
Downtown, yeah.
He's called me downtown, you know. The guy's like, the guy knows me, you know. I'm like, oh, what's up, you know. You know, he knows me. You know, I had no hair.
Yeah, tapping it out.
Yeah. No, because I wore an Aljunid jersey at the back. So this guy knows me. Yeah, Abang Syed, you know, downtown, how are you doing? You know, I felt, you know, okay. Friends, you make friends.
Yeah, so definitely. In terms of MABA Cup, the experiences that you gain, it's helped you build a big brotherhood throughout the whole community, and also having good friends within the teams, like strong bonds, and also having that professional coaching. So in that sense, yes, Petronas Cup, Sedap Cup, MABA Cup, they've all been valuable to us as players. But now moving forward, we are hoping that it can take us to even greater length.
Right.
And I think with that, it seems that we've been talking a lot about this, guys.
Yep.
And that's it, guys. It's a wrap for the first episode, the pilot of Zone 32. Remember, if you want the latest developments of the Malaysian basketball scene, follow us. And also, if you like our content, remember to like, share and comment. And remember, this is me, Afiq Jauhari, signing out for Zone 32.